First question. What motivated you to run in this race?
Well, I think for me, the COVID pandemic really highlighted the need for leadership, both at the federal level, state level, and even more so at the local level. And I think that leadership requires, taking a different perspective to problem solving. Goleta has a number of challenges related to housing and homelessness that need to be addressed, and I'm prepared to offer the leadership that's needed to solve them, rather than continue talk year after year after year.
Why should the people of Goleta vote for you?
Well, one, I care about the community. This is where I've chosen to, raise my family. It's where I've chosen to call home. And, almost 2 decades of government experience, both working for the California State Assembly and in local government. There's certain empathy that I have for, helping people. And I care about the district, specifically about trying to help improve their quality of life and kind of help issues that are important to them. I've met a number of voters on the campaign trail that have just talked about, the need for government to help. And I think that this opportunity is really a unique time for us to reimagine and reinvent what government can be and what government can do. And I look forward to offering, my perspective and my vision for the Goleta over the next 20 years.
What do you think the most pressing issue facing the city is right now?
Housing. I think Goleta needs better housing options, and not just any housing options, but housing for our seniors, our working families, and our veterans, like my dad. And I think that it's going to require us to, take a collaborative approach to solving our housing issues, and really just bringing a balanced approach to providing housing for our most vulnerable, while also providing housing and opportunities for ownership, going forward.
What is your solution to solve it?
A number of areas. I think that we need to look at mixed use. I think we need to look at infill. I think we need to look at the right type of housing, not just market rate, but affordable as well. I think that there's, people in the middle that, that desperately need housing. And I think that, I would work with UC Santa Barbara to solve some of our housing issues. I'd work with housing developers and affordable housing advocates to be able to provide that, because housing impacts the community in so many different ways. I mean, whether it be people that are, struggling to make rent because of the high cost of housing. I think it's, up to leaders, policymakers to set the course and to take action toward that, rather than just talk about it.
What influence do you think national politics will have in this race?
Well, I think there's always a role that national politics plays just naturally. But I'm focused on local politics. I've always believed that all politics is local. When I talk to voters, of course they have concerns about what happens in Sacramento and Washington, D.C., but more importantly, they have an interest and a desire to fix things in their own neighborhood, whether it be providing sidewalks. There are areas of the 2nd District that don't have sidewalks. And, we need to make it safer for kids walking to school by providing the basics, providing, sidewalks, providing, curb and gutter. I think we need to be able to provide that. I think we need to, address, fixing our aging infrastructure, and in terms of potholes. I think we need to make it cleaner and safer. When I say safer, I don't just mean safe from crime and fire, but providing street lighting, making sure that there's areas that are walkable and bikeable. All those things are important from a quality of life standpoint, from a safety standpoint, and can make the 2nd District better. And I look forward to leading that effort.
How would you like to see the city grow over the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, Goleta's been a city for 20 years, and so I think that they've been able to do some good things, but I think there's been areas that are just lacking. And I think part of the reason for that is because the city of Goleta sends almost 30% of its tax dollars to the county, and I think that we need to do something that addresses that, so that we can keep our own dollars local, so that we can address some of the issues that have been talked about and are needed, not just 5 or 10 years from now, but now. We can't wait another 20 years to try to solve some of these issues that have been talked about regarding housing and parking. These are things that need to be solved now, and I'm prepared to do that, and not have to wait 5 or 10 years.
And the last question, and it's an open question, anything else you would like to say to the voters?
As I mentioned, I care about the community. This is where I've chosen to raise my family. I care about our neighbors. The 2nd District is important to me. It's an economic engine of Goleta. It can be so much, and I think that it requires leadership, and it requires some hard conversations that need to be had. but I'm prepared to do that, and it's something I've done, my entire personal and professional life. I've worked as part of a team, growing up, ran track and cross country, and there's a lot of elements of being a part of a team that can help going forward. Everything from setting goals and having vision, and that's what I've been taking to voters over the last 3 to 4 months, really just articulating kind of where I want the community to go, and I hope that they're willing to follow.